Welcome, everyone, to another Tim and John show. So today, obviously, a ton of election stuff going on, to say the least. A lot of election chaos. A lot of basically what John and I thought was going to happen is now happening. And I'm, currently sitting in the epicenter. Well, I guess it looks like I'm sitting in the middle of the desert, but I am in Maricopa County, Arizona, which is one of the counties that could actually swing the election. It's something that I actually talked about, prior to the election going on. And what we're seeing now is, it's crazy just taking a look at like the stock market, not to pivot too much, but I mean the stock market is just having basically we've wiped out all the losses that we had from last week, which was historic amount of losses, and then this week now we take a look at the fake news over here, but take a look at Yahoo Finance and see that the Dow is up 533 points, or almost 2%. S&P right there up 2.03%. Had a big day up yesterday as well. And what's sort of crazy to me about this is if people are now thinking that Biden is going to win, and let's say, obviously that's a whole other subject. I mean, they're reporting that Biden has 264 votes or current electoral votes right now, but of course that's, Drudge Report, which actually I heard from, I hate, I'm like a squirrel over here. Like I see different, things and shiny objects and running to them. But I did hear Alex Jones the other day yesterday claimed that Drudge had sold out to CNN for $50 million, and it's like the secret deal where I don't know if he meant if he sold the Drudge Report for that, or if he just said, hey, a few months before the election, we'll, for $50 million, we'll, be your bitch and do whatever you guys want. So it is sort of crazy. And if you guys are watching this on BitChute or watching this on Library, we definitely want to thank you guys. Also, if you're watching this, on Float, and of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is actually streaming live to Float first and to DLive first, and then we're prioritizing it going up to BitChute and Library, and then it will be on YouTube. So if you got it's just one of these things where unfortunately it's just self-preservation. World Alternative Media has already been kicked off of YouTube once, and for this channel, who knows how much longer. I mean, we're still small enough that we're still like underneath the radar over here. But what's crazy to me, getting back to the election, getting back to the stock market, is if all of the people are thinking that Biden's going to win, and it does look like the fake news media is going to push him into that victory, and then that's going to be a whole contested deal and I do like the fact that Trump's not just laying down on this, not just rolling over. So and as someone that wrote in Kanye West, and with John being Norwegian Canadian anarchist, I don't really think that either one of us have really like a huge dog in the fight when it comes, so we can give you the honest news. And when it comes to and we do have a bias, our bias is towards freedom, or bias is towards liberty, or bias is towards telling you guys the truth. But yeah, we do have a bias, and it's towards freedom, whereas the other guys have obviously a bias to have the globalists and the deep state and all the
bias towards tyranny.
Yeah, all the bias towards all the lizard people running things. But yeah, what is crazy to me is that if you think that Biden is now going to win and that the Senate is going to stay Republican, which I did predict that Mark Kelly was going to win here. So unfortunately, Arizona, both seats have now flipped to blue. And I'm so bad at this right now, but there's so many things going on right now. And the quick version of that is I do fully believe that I think that Trump did win Arizona, that when all said is done, that he might win Arizona, or it's going to be very, very close. But I fully believe that Mark Kelly won the Senate because they ran a never-Trumper rhino for the second time in the Senate seat, Martha McSally. I call her Martha McFlake, which is a combination of McCain and Jeff Flake, who are both terrible scumbag senators that we used to have.
Snowflakes.
Well, unfortunately, no, I mean, John McCain, killed a lot of people, and USS Forrestal and so much other crap going on. But I think that if you have a Republican Senate and Biden in the White House, allegedly or potentially, that's what it looks like is going to be the option. I think Trump's going to fight it, and at the end of the day, maybe Trump will still end up being there, and I think that is a good possibility that we'll hit on later. But I almost think that's almost like the worst case for the stock market, because Republicans are willing to fully act like Democrats, full-fledged Democrats, when Trump is in the White House and saying, hey, we're going to spend, $1.8 trillion, or we're going to spend $2 trillion on this sort of program. But what they don't do, or what they're not really banking on, is when it comes to having an actual Democrat in there, then I think the odds of the Democrats being able to pass these huge bills all of a sudden won't be as good because now the Republicans in the Senate will be like, oh, well, we've got to balance the budget and we've got to, have fiscal responsibility, because it's easy for them to have fiscal responsibility and balancing the budget when the Democrats are now in power. But when they're in power, I mean, they spend even more money than basically Obama did. So, I mean, if Trump is in there for 2 terms, he's going to basically blow away what Obama spent over the course of 8 years, which was something that I'm on video talking about as early as March of 2017. And everyone thought that was crazy. And hell, I mean, he almost gave Obama a run for his money, spending more money during this 4 years. I mean, yeah, granted, there's a whole pandemic and everything going on. But what do you think, John, when it comes to these huge stock market moves and people thinking it's going to be the Democrats Biden taking over or Kamala Harris taking over the White House? And by taking over,
Hillary Clinton is going to take over the White House. Come on.
yeah. So what's going to happen is Joe Biden's going to get in, and he's going to step down for dementia, and then Hillary's going to be the VP, and then magically Kamala's going to get Arkansas-ed or something. So who knows?
No, Hillary's going to be the designated survivor somehow. I just feel it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't even want to put that even out there in the atmosphere.
I don't give her any ideas, kind of thing.
Now, I did say early on that there was a path to having like a Nancy Pelosi being the
it is possible if it's undecided all the way down, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that this is going to go to the Supreme Court. And Trump is not backing down, because I mean, look at who historically is funding these. And I just realized that I wasn't recording on here, but I mean, luckily it's going to float. So let me next time let John talk, that we'll have making sure that we are indeed on float. Otherwise, we might need to go record the beginning of this. But yeah, I mean, it does show that we are live now. So if you guys are watching this on the replay, which there's about a 99% chance that you're going to be watting this on the replay, and shout out to the 4 people watching this right now, and shout out to Zach, who's been helping us out. This is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, in my opinion. And now what you're seeing is, the new justice, Amy Comey Barrett or whatever her name is. And, I do want to point out a correction that one of our guests had. Our guest said that she was a Rhodes Scholar. Eric Shine said that she was a Rhodes Scholar. She was actually graduated from like Rhodes University. So
okay,
I mean, I can see how that, and I'm sure that that's somebody in the height of the moment, that's easy screw up to make. But I was like, man, how did that slip by me? She was a Rhodes Scholar, like that. I mean, that would have been a big fu. I mean, to the average Trump voter, or
We've had Rhodes Scholars out there. I remember we had what's her name, Naomi Klein was out there, and a couple others. So they're all over the place, and they're still getting funded to spread propaganda worldwide.
Yeah, lots of propaganda being spread worldwide. So how's the news up there in Canada land over there when it comes to the elections? Are people hanging on the hat of the U.S. election up there? I mean, I know that you aren't, but what about the average slave up there living in the big cities? Are they concerned about who's going to win?
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Everybody, like most here, are pro Biden, right? Biden is kind of like the conservative in Canada here, so that's just to give you an overview of how bad it is over here. So of course, everybody's rooting for Biden. Everybody hates Trump because they're all following Trump, right? So no, they're all following Biden, and they want Biden to win. There's no like Trump positivity here at all, really. There's some alt media, of course, up here that are talking about Trump, whatever. But again, Tim, it's just usually that we have like our Canadian media is extremely left leaning, and of course they got bailed out $600 million, a whole bunch of mainstream media outlets here by the government itself. That's totally insane. So you can't really blame Canadians for being on the Biden side. But it's interesting, Tim, when you go and look at the actual stock markets, everything is up almost worldwide right now. Everybody's just super positive, even though that we were in a bubble initially when we started before the election. And we've been like, I think, how much were we up yesterday? We were up yesterday as well.
Before the last election, too. We were in a bubble.
Yeah.
And Trump even said we're in a big, fat, ugly bubble in June of 2016.
Oh, yeah. And of course, it's been propped up by central banks, constantly printing money and bailing everybody out. And Tim, I don't know if the report that I created on central banks, I think it'd be good for people to give a little tidbit since we're talking about central banks and their interventions. But first, I think we should talk about an article here. Let me. I gotta find it here. Where is it? It was something about central
Tease us.
banks running. Central banks were running out of ammo. Just trying to find it
Well, even
now.
the former, what's the guy's name? Was it? It's not John Williams. Who was the former Bill Dudley? I mean, we went over this I think last time. Was even saying, what can the Fed really do? And this is the former New York Fed head was saying basically, what if we did, what maybe the 30-year mortgage rate could go down another 0.5%. I mean, it's already so low that it being, going from like 2.5 to 2, is that really going to incentivize,
Oh,
somebody holding out there, and what
yeah.
can they really do? And that the answer is, and I'm saying this isn't like their words, what the answer is that we need Congress to step up big and to spend, even more money and give even more fiscal stimulus, so that way then the Fed can come in and monetize more of the bonds, which is what Ben Bernanke or Hassan Ben Bernanke said that they were not going to do back in the day. But they politicians lying. So you got the article now that you can pull up on screen.
Actually, you know what? I don't have the article, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go through my report here because my report is way, way better in detail than that article probably been anyways. So let me just go and share the screen here. Oh, I'm still disabled, Timmy. I'm still disabled.
There's
You enabled the wrong John.
the wrong job.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Right now I don't have. I still waiting for a webcam, so that's why we're having a little bit of technical issues here. So we're just right around the corner here to get this set up.
Okay, yeah, no, what was happening is I've got, here we go, make a co-host, boom. But of course I got
Yeah,
my camera right in the way, so like I can't. I'm like guessing where it is.
there
We're
we
good
go.
now.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So this is interesting, Tim. I took some time over the last couple of weeks, and I've been going through the current markets, like central banks and what they've done around the world. And I wanted to put it into a little bit of context to actually like have it being worldwide. So this is, the data was published on the 31st of December. So go into central banks' balance sheets over that time. And what's interesting here, so you could see that, for example, Russia has just totally collapsed their balance sheet by a mass amounts of increase. It has something to do with that they've also been buying a lot of gold, but their balance sheet has increased by 9,998.82%. So basically, uh, all the way up. But it's interesting that they actually have a substantial amount of gold, of course, on their balance sheet. Now, Argentina, their balance sheet since 2008 has gone up 2,373. Ghana 2,244. Then, like these are actually rated on where they are in the world and how much they expanded their balance sheets by. So like those states there, people laugh at them. It's like, well, that's kind of banana republics, blah 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 blah. Well, look who's next now. We got Canada with 1,054%. Then next we got the United Kingdom at 966%. You got the Swiss National Bank at 951%, and then Turkey at 940. So, like we're involved here, like Switzerland, UK, and Canada is actually like being a whole part of this whole scam. And as you could see here, if you go and look at the total balance sheets here, like this is a very awesome tool that I built for people. You could actually see, the balance sheet in 2008 for the Federal Reserve, Tim, was approximately 800 billion. Currently, like as I did this, it was sitting at 7.21 trillion. So that is also up, and I'll go into how much is actually, yeah, not right here, but I'll go into how much it's up very soon here. As you can see, the increases were very small here from 2008 to 2019. Canada was only 342. So as you can see, they've really expanded their balance sheets here. Even Argentina and everybody has. But as you can see, here's the balance sheets. We're just going to go quickly through this. It's just an interactive map that you can see all the countries. 77 central banks that I pulled data from. We're going to go down to here where we actually have the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, Tim, which increased by 893.93%. Which is quite substantial. This is since 2008, of course. So we're right next, like after Turkey, which is, everybody's making fun of Turkey have printed their currency into oblivion. Well, look at where the United States is, not very far behind. And of course, Canada is up here, which is, supposed to be the bastion of banking in the world. So they're in huge trouble. Then I, pulled that. I had to. This is a lot of work because I had to go
Now, does
from.
does Bolivia have a big balance sheet? Because then you could say printed into Bolivia instead of Oblivion. But
You know what? I don't know if
I don't
they
even know.
even.
Just
Yeah, actually, here Bolivia has. Well, they're actually quite less, but they still are expanding.
just a
They
moderate
expand
269.
269. Yeah. So yeah, it's not as bad as they were. You gotta make fun, but actually at the bottom end, they're the only one that hasn't gone up over 100% is Finland. The Central Bank of Finland. Now, if you go and look at the actual increase in balance sheets since 2008 for different central banks, you actually have not the Fed at the top, but the ECB, the European Central Bank. They're actually at the top here, Tim, which is super interesting. Next, of course, right after, so you got 6.6 trillion. Then you got 6.3
And is it
is
possible for you to enlarge
yeah.
your screens? Maybe like
Yeah,
zoom in a little bit for all the
let
old
me see
people
if
out
I
there and
could
me.
zoom this in. How do I do it now?
Like in the upper right hand corner, like with those three boxes.
Yeah, hold on
So
there.
so upper right, there should be your other right. Yeah, keep going. No, go up a little bit. I see like there's
Oh,
three
hold on.
boxes at the
Yeah,
top.
sorry.
Yeah, there's
Sorry,
the
yeah.
three boxes at the top, and then I believe that's and then yeah, it says zoom.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There we
Okay,
go.
here, just.
Because when you start getting into the actual numbers, it was like super
Yeah,
hard
it
to read.
is. It is very detailed, so it is a lot of numbers. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Let's
Yeah,
go
no, a
down
lot
here.
better.
Yeah. So here you can see the numbers. Yeah, that's a lot better. As you can see here, you got 6.6 trillion from the ECB and increases in balance sheets. They've been buying a lot of corporate bonds or whatever. We can actually go into detail of some of the major central banks that actually put detailed balance sheets up. Then we have the Federal Reserve at 6.3 trillion. 5.5 trillion is Japan, 3.3 trillion increase is China, and these are all in US dollars. So I had to like actually do the currency exchange as well. But you can see a lot of countries, even tiny Norway with 5.2 million people, has increased their balance sheet almost $1 trillion in value. That's totally insane because Norway is, compared to the countries that have increased their balance sheets here, Norway is, like a little blip. It's like a state in the US or even less a lot of times. Even, if you look at California, it's like a tenth of California almost. But as you can see, there's a lot of increase in balance sheets. Everybody's expanding. Um, there's a couple that actually have decreased. The Philippines, Angola, and Finland. They're the only ones that have decreased the U.S. dollar size of their balance sheets. Here you can actually see we gotta go here and see balance sheet increase. So here you can see the total in the world, like how big of a total they have. So the Federal Reserve is here at 17.23%. The ECB is 17.97, and then Japan. So all of those are, let's see here, so 17, 18, that's 35, 40, 50%. The three biggest central banks, Tim, has increased, stands for 50% of all of the increase. 50%. That's pretty wild if you ask me. Here you can actually see the current balance sheet, very detailed balance sheet of the Federal Reserve, and see what they're actually holding. As you can see, the biggest holdings are bonds and mortgage-backed securities, of course. So they currently hold 53.39%. If we go down here, we're going to look at Bank of Canada. They hold 50% of government bonds. Then they hold we're in repo territory here, so they're doing a lot of term repos still that are not going to. Actually, it started to slightly increase again now. So here in Canada, we're in severe trouble. And of course, the central bank came out and said that, yeah, interest rates are going to stay at zero until 2023. And you guys go out and buy that new car, make sure that you do that reno that you have put on hold because we got to hold interest rates on zero until 2023. Here's Japan. You know, Japan
I'm
is
not sure too many people know that Renault is a car company, but it's a French car company for those of you who
oh,
aren't.
Renault. Yeah, Renault. Renault. It's yeah. It's actually I no. I never had a Renault. I had a Peugeot though. My dad had like two Peugeots, so I actually a terrible, a
Sounds like you're
beautiful,
saying. Sounds like you're
beautiful
saying like
car,
my
but
name. Sounds like you're almost saying like my last
a
name with
Peugeot.
that.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful car, but actually the transmission ceased, the oil ceased up around -degrees, so it's terrible. Uh, and then of course here you have where we're heading. Everybody's got to look at Japan because Tim, that's where we're actually heading. We're heading towards the mass purchasing of government securities because nobody's going to be able to buy them. As you see, they're at 76%. Canada was at 50. The Fed was at about
So
30%.
what this means for people at home is that it means that 76% of all the
Yeah.
government bonds for Japan are being bought by the Japanese central bank. Is that what you're
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
exactly. Yeah, they're actually owning 76% of no, sorry, 76% of the balance sheet. I think it's even more, Tim,
Yeah, I
to be
want to say at
honest with
one
you.
point they
Yeah,
were in like a conundrum where in order to get the rates
yeah.
down, they had to buy like I think over 100%. Like they had to monetize the
I
monetize.
think they're very high, to be honest with you. This is the last one here. This is the ECB, as you can see. Well, they have 51% of their in bonds, just government bonds. Then you have repo operations here as well. So they're in repo mode as well, together with what Bank of Canada was. I haven't done Bank of England. I might actually do a couple more central banks because this is a beautiful program that I could upgrade anything that I want. But as you can see here, they actually have gold over there at the European Central Bank, which Canada has none of. This is an interesting one here because here's two charts. So what they're showing, Tim, is they're actually showing the top central banks' balance sheets, and then it also shows the balance sheets as a percentage of GDP. And as you can see, as the balance sheets increase, you know, you would think that the GDP should get better or whatever because it fixes the economy. It actually gets worse. So like currently, you know, it started down here, Tim, at 16.1% of GDP. And now it's all the way up here at 56.31% of the total GDP. So that's actually everything that gets produced in the world. The top 77 central banks actually hold 56.31% of that on their balance sheet in different types of assets. Nobody's cutting, increasing interest rates right now. Everybody's cutting. Here's conclusions. So final numbers. This is very interesting. Since 2008, Tim, well, actually, sorry, no, the total balance sheets right now for the top 77 central banks is at 46 trillion, 46.9 trillion. Of course, that increases day by day. Since 2008, balance sheets increased 36.77 trillion. Pretty insane, if you ask me. And then you have since like between October. So I just wanted to put it in context of how fast it's been increasing. So from 2016 to 2020, you know, a whole bunch of that increase have happened already. And then of course, since 2019, we're up 12.59%. So yeah, as you can see, this report is great. It's very detailed. You know, it's a pretty cool program that I get to use and geek out on. So I really like it, and it just shows you how bad it is with central banks, Tim, these days, and how much they've been bailing out the economy, trying to constantly prop up this bubble. And as this article said that we couldn't show because it's behind a paywall, you know, it says that central banks are running out of firepower. That's basically what it is. You know, the Central Bank of Japan, we didn't mention too much, but they bought every single type of asset that you can find out there. They have stocks, bonds, corporate bonds, anything on their balance sheet.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing that they should be buying that they're not, it would be, Bitcoin, not investment advice.
Yeah,
And we'll get to that in a second. But
yeah,
while keeping on the theme of central banks here, here's an article out of Barron's that I did reference on my Tim and Yoshi. And if you guys are watching this right now on YouTube or just realize that I'm actually taking a lot. Now, this video is not too controversial, but I guess we did talk about them stealing the election, which I guess is the exact controversy they don't want us talking about. But so maybe this won't be there. But we're only leaving our videos up there for maybe like a week, maybe a few days. It's be a random grab bag of winter. I feel like taking it off, but we're not going to leave the videos up permanently on YouTube. So if you want to see them, you got to either head to the website at the LibertyAdvisorShow.com, which we are still working at getting that all hooked up. But we do now have every single Tim and John show on BitChute in
Fantastic.
order on its own playlist. And so now that it's all caught up. Thank you, Zach, for getting us caught up on that. The Tim and Yoshi show is now also caught up. And we'll be doing more just random walk and talks with my dog, and we'll just be more consistent. We're hoping to have these episodes out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's the Tim and John show. If you want to watch us live, make sure to sign up on alternative platforms to find us, because I don't want to prioritize, people that are just being lazy on YouTube, which, guilty that I'm, one of those lazy guys on YouTube, but I've been getting myself, more on Library. I mean, go ask your favorite creator to go over to Library. Anyways, quick pitch. We're not running ads on YouTube, so you know what? We've got to pitch every now and then, and I'm just pitching to other places you guys to find this information, because who else told you that Joe Biden was going to win this go around, and who else told you that Donald Trump was going to win last go around? I'm just taking a victory lap because guess what? I'm probably like the only motherfucker out there that said Trump was going to win in 2016 and he'd lose this time. Nobody said that. I got ridiculed by everybody. Not that I really care, but getting called crazy back then, getting called crazy again this time, by the same people that were wrong this time were wrong that time. And you know what? And to the Democrats out there, you guys could have made this a cakewalk if you would have elected anybody else except for these two assholes that were up there. I mean, if you would have had Pete Buttigieg up there, the CIA asset, Rhodes Scholar, he, military guy, he would have whooped Trump's ass. You would have had, I don't know if Elizabeth Warren would have. That one's questionable. Tulsi Gabbard would have destroyed him. Bernie Sanders would have decimated him. But nope, you had to go with the old establishment guy, which, through all the shenanigans going on, it could still be Trump at the end of the day once all these lawsuits. But imagine.
They should have Tulsi versus Ron Paul. That would have been epic.
Yeah, just imagine the amount of psychological warfare, the amount of propaganda that's going to be going into the American people and around the world. I mean, this is going to just get to insane levels of, it's already at insane levels. We got a whole, freaking psyop pandemic going on, that notwithstanding. But, they're just going to throw every single thing at Donald Trump of, look at him, he's ruining the integrity of our elections. And speaking of which, I was driving home at around 12:30 at night, Mountain Time, and during the night of the election, and all of a sudden I heard Trump's, sort of like victory speech. And when I got home, I decided to turn it on to the fake news, CNN and MSNBC, and they were freaking out. I mean, they're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in American history, that this is, there's never been anyone that's undermined the legitimacy of the democracy, such as Donald Trump, and this is the darkest day the White House has ever seen. I mean, the White House was fucking burned down at once. I mean, it was darker than that day.
The Canadians!
Yeah, after the first central bank of America was destroyed, and then there was also a hemp embargo. There's other reasons outside of what's in your textbook, because whatever in your textbook, and I just realized that I had it on the article instead of having it on us. But whatever's on the textbook is wrong. But anyways, this article goes on to say why Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is the winner no matter the election results. And
that's true.
And we do have the FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee, meeting today. I'm sure they're going to talk about printing even more money. These guys have been wrong and everything. But as we're talking about this, we have Bitcoin just absolutely going through the roof. So taking a look at this, Bitcoin hits highest level since January 2018 amid post-election volatility. And then taking a look at just a timestamp right now. Let me refresh the page to make sure we've got the most accurate numbers, even though I've got the price of Bitcoin on my desk at all times. But we're at 15,176 at timestamp November 5th, 2020. Ethereum, Bitcoin up almost 13%. Ethereum at 413. Tether, it's $1. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Bitcoin Cash 249, and then then Monero. I'll go point that one out. 119. Okay.
Yeah, Litecoin. Litecoin is also Litecoin is always been there. Was the second crypto to third crypto to ever come. No, was it second or third that ever came out? So
I think there was like a name coin or something that may have actually been the first one, that first fork of Bitcoin. And I know one of the guys.
There was an Aurora coin as well. I forgot what it was called.
And there was some other scams too.
Yeah, and then there was Dogecoin at the time too. When I was in 2013, there was like 3 or 4 of them, or 5.
Yep. And we have also, I mean, taking a look at the fear and greed index. I mean, I don't say but we're only at a 72 with a $15,000 handle on Bitcoin, which is insane because what it's showing is that, for those who don't know, the fear and greed index, basically every time it's into, extreme greed is usually, a bad time to buy because, basically people are always buying at the wrong time. But when it's an extreme fear and everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin's dead and it's going to zero, that historically has always been the best time to buy. So now we're in the 72, which, once you start getting into the 80s, not that this is like a rule or anything, then, that's when you start getting frothy. But who knows? It could go from, you could be an 80 at 20,000, and then maybe it goes to 90 and gets to 40,000 and then drops back down to 15 or something. I mean, so who knows? I mean, nobody knows how it's going to shake out. But, if you're going to be, and to me, I mean, as a financial advisor, the best way to do it is just to buy a little bit each month if you're just starting off into this. And again, you should be researching this. You should go to my Picciott channel where I've got like about 40 videos breaking everything down in Bitcoin. Because you got people who, I mean, John and I have been in this for a while. So you got people who, all of a sudden like, oh, have you thought of this? Yes, we have. We were thinking about a lot of these issues when it was at $3. And I was skeptical at first and thought it was going to be used as the mark of the beast. And guess what? It probably is going to be used as the mark of the beast technology. But so that's why I need to have, private, decentralized ones.
Hey,
And,
Tim, I haven't paid attention, but like you got wrapped Bitcoin. What the heck is that? That one is number 15 now on market cap.
yeah,
What's
you know what?
going
I
on
saw
there?
that.
Have you heard about that one?
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I mean,
I gotta look at that.
I'm guessing
It's
it's
priced
like a
at the
rebranding.
exact same price.
It's
weird.
Bitcoin. It's, you know what it is, and this is just real quickly looking at this like in 2 seconds, but it's Bitcoin on the Ethereum network. So what I think it is you can like kind of like lock your Bitcoin up on the Ethereum network and then be able to then implement smart contracts within Bitcoin. This is all just like off the top of my head of what I'm guessing. This is Bitco blah 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 blah. It's a joint project with 3 organizations. Let me go to the screen here of BitGo, Kyber Networks, and Ren. So I am familiar with BitGo, and I believe actually Goldman Sachs actually has a stake in BitGo. And we'll get back to that. I mean, I don't want to look at this in real time and waste your guys' time on this. We like to move fast over here. Don't like dead air. But another Bitcoin-related story is $1 billion worth of Bitcoin linked to the Silk Road black market is on the move, analysis shows. And so there was a major wallet that was out there, and let me try to find this. And basically what they're saying is, could this be Ross Ulbricht behind, the 69,369 Bitcoins that were moving today? And how did Ross, end up doing this? And I actually had sent this to Ross's mom, Lynn Ulbricht, and was just, showing her like how ridiculous this is. I mean, her son's been, in a cage, has no access to internet, no access to his family, no access to anybody. And it's like, it's just laughable. But if anything, and this was her answer to me, it shows that he wasn't the only one, having any involvement with Silk Road. If there's other people that have, that are able to control a wallet with 69,000 Bitcoin in it, almost 70,000 Bitcoin in it, it shows that he is not the only one that, had this access to it. And, being behind bars right now and in a cage, he's got no access to anything, no access to internet, outside visitors can't see him or anything. So, it would be very hard to be moving something now during this pandemic for Ross when people can't even go and see him. And so, it's just, sort of laughable when you actually, I mean, unfortunately it's not laughable because we're talking about a real life, guys, head over to freeross.org.
There's actually companies that are trying to taint those Bitcoins so they can't be used on any exchanges in the future as well, which is pretty insane. Like if you have tainted, cash on you, like cash have been used to drug deals all over the world.
I mean, what percentage of cash has like cocaine on it? It's like $20 bills. It's like an insane amount of percentage has cocaine on it. So
exactly.
So does Jerome Powell care about people that are doing coke? I mean, how are they going to be, which I guess now in Oregon, I guess they can walk around with street drugs on them. They made that legal. And speaking of central banks, getting high and everything, weed did
what are bankers going to do though, Tim, when you remove cash with cocaine? I don't know.
Are they going to slow down the money printing? I mean, I don't know. They're not going to have the ability to print his money so quickly. But yeah, I mean, so that was, just another story that I saw. Another one, me sort of skipping around here, but I did see that just recently, right before we came on air, that the Pennsylvania lieutenant governor predicts Biden will win states 20 electoral votes, and it's, they've got, about 770,000 votes left to be counted. And even though Trump has, a huge ass lead, somehow these guys know that Trump is going to lose. And this is the same attorney general that beforehand, I guess that would be this is the assistant, but his boss ahead of times, like in no way are we going to declare, Trump's going to win. And this was like a day or two before the election, saying this sort of crap. And again, I am a, libertarian anarchist, voted for Kanye West. I don't have a dog in this fight. You're a, Norwegian Canadian anarchist that has no dog in this fight. But I do want to, just giving, it's just all the Trump derangement syndrome that's going on and all the craziness that's going on. It's just,
Oh, there's lots, like people are rioting now and protesting everywhere. Trump people are out there knocking on doors. It's like, let us in. We gotta see this count. What's happening here? So there's a lot. I think it was perfect because I remember how I also said, there's going to be a contested.
yes, you did. You did say that. It looks like one of our internets went down. Not sure if it was my internet or your internet. So I'll try to make sure there's no more dead air on here. But one other article I did want to mention.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, one of our internets went down.
Oh, there.
Who knows? But I did want to mention another article because no matter what, it seems like it's going to be great for stocks, according to J.P. Morgan, because it says, in a moment of brutal honesty, J.P. Morgan says economic disaster and more lockdowns will be great for stocks. And so what that means is that there's more stimulus and more, PPP type programs are going to be going out there. And so, if you are like an independent contractor,
hey, you can do nothing and get paid, right? Like that's better for anything.
They're doing that in the UK.
Great economy.
They're doing that in the UK, doing that in
Canada.
Oh yeah. But in America, it's been now. I guess for the small business owner, I feel like in America has gotten shafted harder than a lot of places around the world because they gave us like 3 months worth of I think payrolls, but then that was like 6 months ago or 5 months ago. So I mean, so it's like we've been on lockdown now for almost a year, and they gave us 3 months worth of payment. And whereas in a lot of places, I think in the UK, they're getting like 75-80% of payment or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot, and that's one of the reasons why Norway, for example, is massively high on their balance sheet. They've been bailing out left, right, and center, just massively over there. Norway's, given 75% of full salary or 80% of salary to employees. So it's just been totally insane the amount of money that have been dealt out throughout this whole crisis. Tim, I would just want to mention a couple more since before we leave the crypto space. There's a couple of bigger crypto news out there. Iranians are starting to really adopt crypto as the sanctions, constant sanctions on the U.S. From banning them from SWIFT and all that. So that's starting to happen. Hong Kong is wanting to actually regulate crypto platforms. You saw how well that went in, for example, over at what's that place now? BitLicense in New York. Well, that
and what a scam that was. So for people that don't know, there was a BitLicense in New York, and how that came about. There was a New York State Department of Financial Services, and the guy that was, and his name is slipping right now, but the guy that was behind that and created all these rules and all this bullshit you had to go around, and it cost like $100,000 like at least to get one of these
competition.
Get one of these licenses. And so anyways, as soon as I think the guy's name was like Eric something, it's gonna drive me nuts because it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Eric Schmidt?
No, it's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, but next time you talk, I'll go and figure this out. But what they did was, as soon as they enacted all these rules, then that guy then stepped down, and then as soon as he stepped down, basically him and all of his underlings go and created a consultancy firm on how to get around the rules that he just created. And then I believe he then had something to do with Ripple, and I mean just another reason why I didn't like Ripple. But I mean that should be criminal. You create all these rules, and then you then create the company to then get around the rules and then leave the New York State Department of Financial Services. But you got people like me who left New York, and who knows, at this rate might need to leave Arizona too. With they just voted to raise taxes on the top. The top bracket up here to go from 4.5% to 8%. So an 8% state income tax when it was 4.5%, and for most people it's only like increase. 2. Yeah, so I mean it's almost 100%, but yeah, it's But it's for the teachers, it's for the kids, it's for the school. So I mean, why the fuck do teachers need more money right now? I mean, they're not even like basically, they might not even need going back to school for having, if Bill Gates is right about all these new pandemics that are down the line, and he's always like saying this with a smile of like, oh, and the next one's gonna be even worse. Like he already knows the inside details. But what do you have any articles on the Iranian Bitcoin that you wanted to share?
Yeah, actually, I could share it right now here in just 1 second. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening there. Of course, another place in the Middle East that's also heavily into crypto is Turkey as well. Turkey is very has probably one of the biggest adoptions of cryptocurrencies in the world. So here's the Iran pivoting. They're getting the authorities are actually mining, and they're handing out mining licenses to 3 power plants to provide energy for mining firms. So they're doing that. It says here 3 power plants requiring the local mine tokens to be sold to the central bank of Iran to help pay for imports. So actually, there you go. That's the central bank of Iran. Now, I predicted in 2019 that it was going to be happen, that a central bank would use it as reserves. But here you go. The Iranian central bank is now using Bitcoin, Tim, as reserves to then do, international trade, as it says here. So that is interesting. My predictions came true to Tim, and I'm pretty sure that you also had a similar prediction on that. That central banks would have to adopt these currencies, and then of
Especially in a
course,
place,
yeah,
especially in places that are banned, like Venezuela, and
yeah,
they're cut off from the outside
yeah, right.
world. It's even like WikiLeaks back in the day when they were sort of forced into Bitcoin and ended up being like a great blessing in disguise for them.
Yeah, so talking about that, like we got an article right here, Tim. You kind of rolled right into the article here. And it's Venezuela to incorporate Bitcoin and Litecoin wallets into national remittance platform. So it's basically the government run whatever platform, but they can actually allow people to use Lite and Bitcoin on that platform. Of course, the Petro token failed over there. They tried to pull that off, which is pretty interesting. But that really failed, Tim. We were looking at Bit License. I was trying to find the name, Tim, of Benjamin Losky. Is
Yeah,
that the
Ben
name?
Losky.
Yeah,
It's definitely
yeah,
Ben Losky.
yeah. So he's out now again, creating another fund, trying to do some shenanigans over there again, over in New York. And talking about New York, let's mention this here. New York is about to kill a whole lot of landlords.
Oh,
And
let's stay
yeah,
on New York with Bitcoin because
sure,
I remember
sure,
giving a
yeah,
client event a few years ago. It was when Bitcoin was pretty frothy, and I was showing them like how to and these are people that were not into Bitcoin already, and so it's like, hey, and I think I sent them it was either Litecoin or it was one of the faster tokens because I didn't want to at the time, I didn't want to wait and have Bitcoin mess up, or maybe it was Ethereum. Actually, no, it was Dash. I sent them Dash because I knew that would be quicker and sort of explaining it. And then I was teaching them how to go from Dash into Bitcoin and using Shapeshift. And I think it was like a Changelly app or something, or it wasn't Changelly. It was I forgot what wallet I was using at the time. But anyways, I was going on to Shapeshift inside the wallet to then transfer from one to another.
Exodus.
No, it wasn't Exodus.
Okay. Yeah.
I could probably figure it out in a few minutes. But
But
anyway, what was
Shapeshift is great, by the way. I
so
love it. I
Shapeshift,
always
so
use it.
Shapeshift was inside
Yeah.
inside this wallet, and so I went to go, you demonstrate it, and I'm like, shit, I can't get this to work, and I kept trying it and trying and trying it, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm in New York, I don't have a VPN turned on, and because I'm originally from New York, so now Shapeshift, because of the bit license, wasn't allowed to operate in New York, and so actually on the Shapeshift website, it actually says
Well,
we're banned in, or we're not banned, but we don't, the two places that we don't work in are New York and North Korea. So, so Eric Voorhees, Eric Voorhees, who was behind that,
yeah,
basically wanted to give a big FU to New York, which they first, I guess, gave him the FU to him first.
yeah.
Biden lead in Nevada widened to 12,000 after more votes were reported in Clark County. So I guess that's just one more nail in the coffin for Trump. But again, this is going to drag out. I think it's going to go all the way to Supreme Court. Now people are saying,
Yeah, I
oh,
think like how long do you figure it's gonna drag out to? Like how long can Trump drag this out? Like all the way till December?
I mean, they could drag it out.
Or
I mean, you know how long stuff takes with the courts. I mean, they could drag this out till, I mean, after the inauguration. I mean, hypothetically, I mean, this could be,
yeah,
and then at that point, the riot. I mean, it almost seems like that's would be even better for the deep state and better for the Democrats.
Oh
'Cause, I
yeah.
mean, they get so much stuff, and like Ed Griffin was talking about this. So much stuff got passed with Trump. I mean, there's more gun
Yeah.
legislation got passed by Trump than Obama. You know, the Federal Reserve doubling under size in size. All these bad things that Republicans and conservatives laid down on and said nothing about. And if you were to get a huge amount of civil unrest and Trump's in there to do like sort of not that he's like necessarily doing their bidding, but he's inadvertently doing their bidding on a lot of different fronts, and he's also messing things up for them and slowing them down and acting like a giant monkey wrench. So I don't want to poo-poo everything over here, but I almost think it benefits them the most to have Trump sort of win in a legal lawsuit type situation, have it dragged out, foment all this hate, foment all this terror,
Yeah.
get like the riot brigades, have Antifa being out there causing like some I'm sure police officers might be
Yeah, you
hunted
want
down.
Antifa to
There's
clash
everybody,
with Proud Boys and other
and
groups,
then they're
right?
gonna
Like they
then
really
they're gonna
just want to
make
pit them.
then you're
Yeah.
gonna make more Proud Boys, more other groups, and then
Yeah.
anyone who's white and try standing up for this is gonna be branded some white nationalist supremacist because that's just what they do. And let's see, it looks like Trump is still leading in Georgia, the
But
Pennsylvania
you
governor.
technically, Tim, you're technically not white though. Like you're Italian, so you could claim that you're a little fair skin. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, with all
No.
all these bright lights on me, I look a lot more white than I really am. But but what's funny is that
No.
Italians weren't considered white until about 1950. But I'm only half Italian,
Yeah.
so in America, Italians weren't considered white until basically after World War II. And so basically, like my dad was pretty much like the only one that got the benefit of being like a white guy in America, and even though he is 100%.
Yeah.
So because then now it's like not because before it was like you want to be a white guy, then it was now you don't want to be a white guy. So now
Yeah.
we're considered a
Exactly.
white guy, right? As being a white guy is now all of a sudden like the evilness. So I'm glad that one generation of Picciotts got to be a white guy when what being a white guy was.
But if you were to blame somebody, Tim, you got to blame the Italians. They had the Roman Empire. They created the influence on the U.S. Empire, and then of course the Venetian banksters.
Or that, I mean, if anything, you bring it back to the Jesuits, or
Yeah, I know. I'll just scream it in. It's just really funny. No, it's that whole thing, Tim. It is like when you go and look at history. Actually, the Jewish merchants were bringing over paper currency ideas to Europe because they did a lot of trade with the Chinese, and they actually brought a lot of it over. With them, and then suddenly, it started popping up all over Europe, from 1600 and forward. So of course, like ideas like these spread when people see, like,
both of which
because
are groups that the
yeah,
KKK and Planned Parenthood were trying to kill. I mean, the largest
yeah,
mass lynching in America by the KKK was against Italians. It wasn't even against blacks. And
isn't
so
that interesting?
in 1891 in Louisiana,
Yeah,
and so uh, yeah, most no one like almost knows that. I mean, the KKK. I mean, the what was it? Margaret Sanger, who started the KKK or started Planned Parenthood, almost same thing. Except Planned Parenthood's been even more effective, way more effective
yeah, oh yeah, big
at
time,
killing people than the KKK ever was. But she said blacks, Jews, and Italians are like human weeds and like weeds that need to be exterminated. And now Donald Trump even gave Planned Parenthood more money last year than he did than even what happened underneath the Obama regime. So I mean, that's just one more thing that people don't realize. And actually, you see this picture? They got the White House is like all walled off right now. They erected like this huge wall. They built a wall around. I mean, they couldn't build a wall.
That's
So
where they built the wall. Okay,
yeah,
there you go. That's I forgot. Maybe it was confused about where to build the wall, and it ended up being around the White House. Like I don't know, Tim.
I want a
Like, do you
wall
think
being
this is
built
gonna?
blocking
Yeah.
off California. That's where I want the wall. If there is going to be a wall, because
Hey, you
they're
got
coming
you
here
got
like
California.
locusts.
Californified? No, what would you call it? Like Arizona? What ended
California.
up?
I mean, we got. And the thing is, I actually don't think Arizona is as blue as people make it out to
Yeah.
be. Because like when they say the Senate turned blue, well, it turned blue because we were running these basically, Democratic light Republican rhino never Trumper
Well, it's more
piece of
like
shit candidates.
Canadian
Yeah.
conservatives, you call them, that are like Democratic leaning, like they're more liberal. We have that in Norway as well. Our conservatives over there in Norway, they're actually, the conservatives in Norway ran it with the Progressive Party, and suddenly the Progressive Party got kicked out of Parliament because they were anti-immigration too much. And there's racists in there. There definitely is, but yeah, they just threw them out over there in Norway. And of course, Norway just like getting bad. You know, it's interesting, Tim. You go and look all over the world right now. Everybody's like talking lockdowns. Everybody wants to go into further lockdowns here in Manitoba. They're
Well, it's
talking
going to
about
be good for the stock
curfews.
market, according to J.P. Morgan. So of course everybody wants
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So and then everybody gets to sit on their ass, do nothing, and then just receive money for free from the central banks. You know, we all become slaves to the
And I
central
can't
banks,
believe
and
that there's people out there that
it's
just want to
perfect.
sit. I mean, yeah, I can believe it, but I mean, I'm just a guy that I can't sit down for more than like two
No, it's
seconds, and to think that there's people that just want to, sit around all day, do nothing, and be like, oh well, if only Joe Biden was elected, my life would be so much better. Well, guess what? If you're a fucking loser right now, you're probably going to be a fucking loser no matter which person is elected next time. If you're broke, you hate your life, nothing's going good, guess what? Probably not going to change no matter who's the
no.
elector.
That's
So
that's the thing, Tim. You know, I've been close to broke when I've been younger. Like when I moved over with my wife, you know, I couldn't find work properly and all that stuff. So I was pretty broke. But I never stopped. I never received a dollar from the government in my life. The only time I was forced to receive money from the government was when I received the child benefits that my parents got
yeah, no, in
until I was 18.
2018, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I was not some rich guy and came from parents who had me at 19 and 20 years old. So obviously, that's not the, the path to,
No.
prosperity. And then had to then got kicked out of my dad's house, and mom left, several years before that, and then lived with my grandparents. So, I mean, you want to look at like the scale of being, of, I mean, a lot of, I mean, growing up with a single parent dad, historically from a statistical perspective puts you further behind the eight ball than
Oh
even
yeah.
growing up with a single parent mom, and then getting then kicked out of your dad's house and then living with your grandparents. That puts you in like a statistical category of about zero when it comes to trying to be successful. And then I finally was working
Well,
for.
I think Tim, I think you had good mentors though throughout your lifetime, and I think that's important to make that point. Is that you can be as broke as you want, but if you find those good people around you that are willing to help you and mentor you and give you direction in life, I think that's very powerful. Like I was lucky that my dad was that guy, the initial guy that put me on that path. So I was very, very lucky in my life, you know, to have that happening to me at an early stage. So I always have had that, you know, want to do more in life and want to bring prosperity to the world around me and make world problems and try to fix them and not
Yeah, and it's not even
sit and
about
complain
making
about
money either, and it's not about
them.
being rich. But if you want to help change the world, I mean, it's a lot easier to do so. If you've got money, or if you have
No,
then
yeah,
time to be able to think about these bigger issues. And so, back when I wasn't really that great at marketing, I didn't know anybody. I mean, I started my career the day Lehman Brothers went down. I mean, think of a worse time to try to be a financial advisor than the day Lehman Brothers goes down, being 22, trying to convince people, being shy too at the time, and trying to convince people to give you, their life savings. Very
yeah,
tough ask to do. And then once I finally get some traction in New York, then my wife at the time wanted to move to Arizona, had to basically start all over. Then after a few years, I started getting built up in Arizona, and then switched companies. Even though if I stayed at the company I was originally with, I had inside info that a bunch of people, top guys, were leaving, and I would have inherited their accounts. Probably could have made like $500,000. Decided to not do that because I didn't want to be, a slave, because then I would have been
yeah.
stuck in that system like basically forever and would have been controlled. So then went to become an independent financial advisor. Then finally, after 2 years, built myself back up to where I was kind of before. Right as I got to that point, I was forced to basically resign in order to give a speech on cryptocurrency. And then as I make the pivot to cryptocurrency, that entire game plan I had for being able to sell when the price of Bitcoin was high all went to crap, because then the price of Bitcoin basically didn't get back up high until basically today when we hit
Yeah.
$15,000 again. So
Yeah, now we're starting
that's
to
been nearly
yeah.
3 years in the making on that too. And so yeah, I'm a 12 year overnight success. We're finally now, and I feel I'm not necessarily cocky, but somewhat confident on this. When I was sitting in cash in 2008, had the put options going into the fourth quarter of 2018 when everything went down. Bought the put options again in January 15th, 20. I'm forgetting my years here. 2020. So it's like, how many times is lightning gonna strike? I'm not always gonna get this, but I feel good enough that me being with me versus with somebody else, it's a win-win-win, that we can help you and your family out. Or great, you don't need the help, and maybe someone that is like-minded. And I'm not trying to even bring everybody on, even as clients. I'm only trying to bring on like other like crypto libertarian anarchist
Yeah.
red-pilled people that are awake to what's going on, because I don't want to have to watch what I say. And I was watching what I had to say, but it but in terms of mentors, you can go out and find some. There, you can go
Yeah.
out and there's great people online, like for business or for sales. I mean, looking up guys like Grant Cardone when it comes to like marketing. He
Oh, there's tons
he
of great
pitches
guys
himself
out
as
there
like a
that are, yeah.
closer, but I think but there's so many different things that you could do. I mean, if you're going to school for marketing, throwing away all your money. I mean, there's you're probably better off.
I
Lots of
took
other.
a marketing course in the military, and it was pretty bad.
I had one marketing sales class, and it was a guy that
Yeah.
like sold like salt to like the highways in like literally in upstate New York when they all need salt. Like anybody could sell. It's like trying to sell trying to like
Yeah, it's
sell
like,
ice to somebody in Arizona or something when they're dying in the desert. Like everybody needs
no.
that. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. It's not really a sales job. It's more
yeah, and
like
this
any shitty salesman can
yeah, it was like
pull
the
that one off.
biggest waste of time of like almost any class I took. And of
Yeah,
course, I had to take classes on global warming and got all the propaganda
yeah.
of what's going on. But what were we even talking about before how
We were
people
talking
could.
about crypto. I think we were talking about the election a bit as well. The contested election that we're seem to be heading straight forward into. And I think, Tim, I think we're in for a lot of volatility. And I think I said on the Union of the Unwanted, like, this is perfect for the banksters because there's going to be a lot of volatility. They're going to make a lot of money on the ups and downs in the market in the days and weeks and months ahead, I think, Tim.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Amanda Rose. I saw that she is on here. So hey, Amanda, appreciate you
Hey,
guys watching. We got actually 8 people now in Float, which for Float is not that. Which I got. So I've got over 30,000
woo!
people following me on Facebook and one person watching me on Facebook. I shared it to a bunch of groups that are all like libertarian financial groups that are out there. So probably in the aggregate, probably close to like 100,000 people are getting supposedly getting notifications on this, and yet one person's watching us over there. We've got 8 on Float. So maybe they came from Facebook over to Float, which in that case,
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that. And it's just absolutely insane. But I mean, do you want to start wrapping this up, John? I know
Yeah, sure.
we'll probably do some more of these as the craziness is unfolding with this entire election. Oh, Josh Segerson in the house. So hey, what's up, Josh? We
No,
got 10.
what is his name now? He changed his
Well,
name.
no, it's on. It's
Did you
on.
see?
Well, it's Aljosho
Yeah.
Sigurdsson. Oh, and I was
He got a mustache too. I didn't know that he grew a mustache.
I was joking around. I'm like, yeah, we should create another YouTube channel, not World Alternative Media YouTube channel, and see what.
Well, you should have a kind of a Spanish speaking. You guys could try to speak some Spanish on there and give some fun. I actually talking about that. Me and Josh had an interview with Robin Kiyosaki that has been translated into Spanish, by the way. That's pretty funny.
He did. Yeah, he did send me that. So
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. But no. Anyways, this is. I guess you can watch Float.tv on a smart TV. Apparently, but
Ooh,
so
there you go.
so Josh, I mean, are you? What we could do is I don't want to actually. I gotta find a way to send you the invite. But Josh, if you wanted to jump onto this, maybe we could start another stream, and we can end this Tim and John show and do another report with you if John has time. Not sure if you do. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I'm
sign you into something.
I'm not working. No, I still got time until I gotta do something at 2 p.m. So I still got some time.
Okay. Well, what we're gonna do is I know Josh was looking to get some videos done. Maybe you already did get them done. But Josh, let us know in here. Did you want to maybe film something with John and I while we're all available right now? And it's just yo. Hopefully this message doesn't pop up here.
Oh, look at Tim. Have you checked our Discord channel?
No.
There's guys have gotten to our trends. Make it rain.
Yeah, hold on, I'm trying to get the. I need to get the invite link, but I don't want to. I don't want to give out
Yeah.
the.
No, but let's just wrap this up before we get to Josh. But again, we're gonna see a lot of more volatility in the markets. Bitcoin, gold, silver, everything's gonna go up and down. But I do believe that, and I think you do as well, that this is our opinion. But looking at it from a historical perspective, gold and silver has always been beautiful wealth protection throughout time and should always be a part of anybody's portfolio. That's what just history tells us. And then of course today, like crypto, like now with central bank digital currencies getting pushed around the world, any type of cryptocurrencies, especially the ones that are privacy oriented, like Monero, Wimble, and a whole bunch of others, are getting more and more important to have as a part of your portfolio if you want to actually stay underneath the grid and not getting surveilled 24/7. It's if you keep on letting the totalitarian technocrats, taking over our lives here that they're doing and using COVID for the scamdemic, it becomes pretty apparent, Tim, that they're gonna, try to do whatever they can. So we gotta try to do whatever we can and try to educate yourself. Come over to me and Tim's Discord channel. What is the it's Discord?
Well,
What
if
is
they want to go to the LibertyAdvisor.com, soon we'll have a
yeah.
TimandJohnShow.com. But if you go there, you can go scroll down. There's a link to find us on all the different podcast platforms, to find the Float channel, to find the YouTube channel, to find the BitChute, find the library, find the Odyssey, find the Discord, find at least my LinkedIn. We'll get John's LinkedIn up there because you know that he's a LinkedIn superstar. But anyways,
well, actually, somebody wants some currency printing. They're getting hungry. They're getting poor.
Oh no! It's a good thing that. Oh, it's a good thing I've got my. Oh no! But I'm all out. But it's a good thing I've got another gun here too. So it's like in Arizona, you can never have enough guns laying around.
No, exactly. You gotta protect yourself.
For the Fed, you can never have enough money guns laying around.
I'm just protecting myself from the Fed. That's what my money gun is. Got to print enough money so I'm staying on par with what they do to try to keep my purchasing power down.
And look at this, up to 13 people on Float, which I guess at least one of them is me, and probably another one's Josh. But anyways, that's pretty good.
It's good to see. That's very good to see. It's we need to use these alternative platforms, Tim.
And what I'm trying to get Kingsley to do, so Kingsley, we need this, is to have a Float embed where I can have it go to the LibertyAdvisorShow.com live, or have like a Tim and John Show episode 24. We send that out, but then in the embed of the website is the Float one, instead of like having to rely on YouTube. And this is prioritized to YouTube. So so only Float.tv plays on smart TVs, not DLive or Odyssey. Yeah, so Odyssey you can, and I don't believe you can even go live on there because it's more of like a storage repository. But anyways, that is cool. We'll have to go check that out. But yeah, I mean, people are always looking for solutions, and part of the solutions over here is being more self-sufficient, getting off the man's grid, getting off the man's money, working on yourself, being healthy, eating healthy, thinking healthy, stop watching all the news except for Tim and John Show and Josh and and some other people and some other friends in alternative media. But if you're watching Fox News all day, which you're probably not if you're listening to this, that's definitely not something you want to do. Share these links. We know having more people knowing this information, with people like us putting it out there. Well, because you can't know how to defend yourself against all these onslaught of psychological attacks if you don't know the attacks are being out there in the first place. I watched for 10 seconds CNN yesterday with Anderson Cooper, and he's got Doris Kearns Goodwin up there, who she's known as a core historian, which is that's what I know her as, but she is a presidential historian that basically just is there as a mouthpiece of the government to give the bullshit version of what's going on, especially and she is like sort of like the preeminent Lincoln historian, but that whole story is BS. We should try to get Thomas DiLorenzo on sometime to talk about what really went on when it comes to Lincoln.
Sure. And maybe we should announce, talking about to get people on, we're actually getting Russell Gray on the 19th. That's a Thursday, Tim, so that'll be exciting. He's one of the advisors to Robert Kiyosaki. He is a very successful entrepreneur and real estate investor. So that'd be really good for those of you that are interested to know what's happening actually in the real estate markets. He's very, very good at knowing what's happening around the world. And of course, he is also on our side, Tim, on belief and everything that, comes to the Federal Reserve and the scam it is. So we'll have a very good conversation with Russell Gray as well. So that'll be exciting. And of course, we're constantly working on getting new people on. And if you guys are interested, let us know who you'd like to see on here next, and then we'll do our very best to try to get them on, get the show growing, so we could get more and more better contributors on the show.
We need to interview Josh Segerson, because it was almost 2 years ago to the day when I first wanted to say that I got introduced to Josh because I wanted to interview him, and now it's been 2 years, and I've never interviewed Josh. So it's funny how it's been. It's crazy how it's been pretty much almost a little over 2 years now. And actually when he was almost poisoned and died almost right before I met him. So good thing he didn't die. Good thing he's still here to be in the live chat now. But great having you guys here. If you guys are watching this on BitChute or watching this on other platforms, make sure to check us out on Float. Make sure to check us out LibertyAdvisorShow.com. That's gonna be the main one that we're gonna be pushing going forward. But anyways, appreciate everyone here. We're gonna be signing off now, and
and also check out theeconomictruth.org.
Yep. Yeah, can't forget that one. And then John's
Yeah.
available for consulting, especially for people up in Canada, because I unfortunately am limited as to what I can do in Canada. But anyways, thank you
Yeah.
guys so
I
much.
can't I can't advise any people, but I give you all my opinions.
Yep, giving you all the opinions. Anyways,
Yeah.
take care and talk to you guys later.